Raymore City Council regular meeting for Monday, January 22nd, 2024. I'll call the meeting to order and ask for the roll call, please.
Councilmember Abdelgawad?
Here.
Councilmember Baker?
Present.
Councilmember Barber?
Present.
Councilmember Burke?
Present.
Councilmember Ingert?
Here.
Councilmember Forster?
Present.
Councilmember Holman?
Present.
Councilmember Townsend?
Present.
Mayor Turnbow?
Present. We have a quorum. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have no presentations and awards this evening or personal appearances on the schedule, so I'll go to the staff reports. Mr. Fearborn.
Thanks, sir. I would ask Mr. Mustine to make a staff report for Parks and Recreation.
Thanks, sir. Mayor, members of the council, good evening. I've submitted a written report. Just a couple things to make note of. We do have a new employee on staff in the Parks and Rec Department. Our business development coordinator, Ms. Candace Mangrum, has started. She could not be here tonight, but she will be attending with me at next month during my staff report, so I can introduce her to all of you. So very excited to have her on staff. And then just a couple other highlights coming up. We have still in full season with the ice rink, regular hours of Friday night and Saturday and Sunday, and then it's open skate if you have your own skates any other time. Our Valentine's dance is coming up a couple weeks on February 10th, and we're pretty excited about our first 5K that we're going to host this year. We haven't done one in several years, probably about 12, 15 years since we've done a 5K, so really excited about that. We're going to utilize Hawk Ridge Park and the trail system over there in that neighborhood, and registration is open for that. So just looking forward to spring and getting out of some of this snow weather as everybody is. But that's my staff report tonight. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Nate. Anybody have any questions for me? Yes, Mr. Burke. No,
Nope.
sorry, nope.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
So congratulations on your new employee. Just to check for understanding, that was the role that we hired. We've been talking about it for a while, but it's to get a person here who can coordinate maximization of our events and our rental space for all the new amenities that we put in the past, say, 5 or 6 years. Is that a
Yes,
correct
sir.
assessment, sir?
Yes, sir. It'll focus on rental facilities and events at Centerview, and that maximize the areas that we have and bring folks and get them aware of what we have and make sure they know that we're available for them.
Outstanding, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Abdelgawad.
Just a couple questions about the 5K in case anyone asks.
Sure.
Is it going to be all on the concrete trails or will it go onto the dirt trails? And is it a fundraiser for something or just a program?
Okay, so this one will just be a program. It's just a Parks and Rec event. It is one of 3. We'll do a 3 series throughout the year, and we'll highlight different areas of our park system, so they won't all be at Hawk Ridge Park. This particular one is scheduled to stay on the trail system itself, around the amphitheater, up by the new trail, the soccer fields, and even into some of the neighborhood streets there just to complete the circle. But we don't anticipate this particular time utilizing the off-road because of the time of year, weather, and we just don't know if it'll be available at that point.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Fearborn?
Thank you, Ms. Mustine. I would ask Mr. Azur to make a staff report this evening.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn, Mayor, members of the council. I'd like to introduce to you this evening our one guest in the room. This is Mandy Marshall. I'm going to have her stand up real fast. Mandy joins our law firm as a new associate. She comes to us from the Gwynn Mundorf Law Firm, and prior to that, Legal Aid of Western Missouri. Spent time with the Gwynn Mundorf Law Firm doing school law, and that included both sunshine work as well as discovery answers. So I'm happy to have her join our firm. Looking forward to having her provide a little bit of coverage if need be down here in the city of Raymore. And thank you very much for coming, Mandy.
Nice meeting you, Mandy.
Thank you, Mr. Azur. I would ask Ms. Harmer to make a staff report for communications.
Thank
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Just want to touch on some positive engagement we have. Sorry, this is really sounding weird this evening. Positive engagement we've been having on social media with our public works that have been working around the clock for, I think, around 18 days now without much of a break for any of them. So I posted the little Travis Kelce heart with our Parks and Rec logo, and that's gotten more than 40 wonderful comments, 350 some likes, I think, and a lot of shares. So really good work to our Public Works Department, and also some extra people from our parks maintenance and from engineering as well that have been working, plowing the streets and treating and salting pretty much 12-hour shifts around the clock for a while. And also, I took advantage of being the sole administrator of our Twitter or X account for PD this morning, and I let people know that it was slicker than Andy Reid's mustache out there, and they should delay travel if possible. And that was recognized and retweeted by KMBZ, Channel 9 reporter, and the Missouri State Highway Patrol Troop A. So we got a little bit of recognition there for that tweet. But anyway, I just wanted to say that, Public Works is out there doing the hard work, the dirty work, and it's nice to see people supporting them on social media. So that's really all I have to share with you this evening.
Thanks, Melissa. Anybody have any questions for Melissa? Okay, thank you. Mr. Fearborn?
Thank you, Ms. Harmer. I would ask Ms. Lee to make a report giving you all the annual economic development report.
Good morning, or good evening, Mayor and Council. There should be a fresh 2023 Economic Development Report at your seat. This annual report highlights the industrial, commercial, and residential growth in Raymore over the 2023 calendar year. Is it me? It's me.
Very sensitive.
The report also includes our investment in the city's infrastructure and quality of life projects that either were completed or are still in progress. I want to highlight that the Raymore Commerce Center is now home to 4 tenants, 9 new businesses opened, and over 180 residential permits were issued in 2023. I want to take a moment to thank all of the staff that helped me collect this information for the report: Ms. Hill, Mr. Warner, Mr. Gress, Mr. Eppert, Mr. Salisbury, and Mr. Mustine, and a special thanks to Ms. Garcia and Ms. Harmer for putting all the information together and making it look so nice. There are additional hard copies of the reports available, and the report will be available online later this week. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions for Ms. Lee? Okay, thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Mr. Fearborn?
Thank you, Ms. Lee. So we'd originally let the council know that there was a possibility that we may be having a work session on the 5th Monday. We will not be having that work session. I moved everything from that work session over to the first Monday in February, February 5th. And part of the reason for that is because there is a hearing in Jefferson City scheduled in front of the House at 8 o'clock on Tuesday morning, so we'll be going down the night before. And that concludes staff reports this evening, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fearborn. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Fearborn? Okay. Hey, yes, Mr. Townsend, do you have something?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It just popped in my head. I should have brought the comment up during Ms. Jordan's comments. One of the things that I noticed before I went on vacation in the Kansas City Business Journal, it once again highlighted the city of Raymore, I believe for this particular they're called Book of Lists, like top 25 communities. It listed Raymore in the top 10. I think we were number of the fastest growing communities. I think Raymore was number 3. You had Belton in there. You had Pleasant Hill. As far as the Cass County communities was in there. I believe this is our second mention because I want to say 2020, 2019, we were listed as the one of the wealthiest communities within the region in that list. So again, this report and the work of staff shows that we are recognizing the community for what we're doing here and what you all are doing. I just wanted to highlight that fact given this presentation tonight.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Okay, well, we'll move on in the agenda. We have no committee reports tonight, so we'll move to the consent agenda. We have a couple of items on the consent agenda this evening, 3 in fact. I would entertain a motion to dispose of the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Townsend.
real quick before the motion, I just want to acknowledge that I was absent for the 8th of January, but I was able to review the meeting online, so I'll be able to vote this evening.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. All right, thank you.
Can I as well?
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry.
I thought it was just a
I
thank
also wanted
you.
to say I watched, but I was not here, so I will also be voting as well.
Okay. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I move that we approve the consent agenda, including item A, City Council meeting minutes for January 8th, 2024. Item B, appointments and affirmations of membership to incentive district boards. And item C, Hunters Glen Storm Repair Project acceptance and final payment.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. We'll now move on to unfinished business. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3862 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3862 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with T.C. Fuller Construction, LLC, for the Recreation Park Trail Repair, project number 23-436-201, in the amount of $50,480, and authorizing the city manager to approve change orders within established budget constraints.
Thank you. If there's no further questions, I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor?
Mrs. Delgado.
I move that we approve Bill 3862, award of contract for the Rec Park Trail repairs.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3862. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. We'll now move on to new business. Could I please have the first reading of the, let's see, what have we got here? Oh, we have our annual reports here. I'll go ahead and turn it over to staff for that. I'll open the, this requires a public hearing as it's a tax increment financing plan and redevelopment projects progress overview. So I'll open the public hearing and I'll turn it over to Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, Your Honor, and I would ask Ms. Lee to make a report on this agenda item this evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's time for the annual TIF report every January. First, I would like to talk about the Foxwood Village Shops TIF, which includes Culver's and the new Starbucks. I do want to note that the Starbucks numbers are not captured in this year's TIF report, but they will be captured next year. The addition of Starbucks allows more revenues to be captured in paying back the TIF debt, which has primarily been carried by Culver's since the approval of the TIF. This will allow some relief for Culver's in the TIF boundary. These eats have increased by 13.7% in 2023. Next, we have the Raymore Galleria TIF, and the eats for this TIF have increased by 15.5% since last year. And I do want to clarify that Project Area 4, the Depot apartment complex, is in the boundary of the original TIF, but it will not be activated for the benefit of the TIF since it is a residential project. The new residents at the Depot will indirectly benefit the TIF by shopping at the businesses located within the TIF. Whataburger sales were reflected in this year's TIF report, and additionally, Sanos Orthopedics will be located in the former Office Max building later this year. Lastly, the 58 Highway and Dean Avenue TIF eats have increased a whopping 27.8% since last year, and this TIF will also benefit from the new residents at the Depot. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody have any questions for staff at this time? Mr. Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a question. This may have been discussed in previous year's presentation with respect to the Foxwood Village Shops. That's a unique boundary. What could be, built in the particular segments that's, within those multifamily units?
Mr. Gress, I don't believe anything can be built within that strange residential area, but I'll hand it over to Mr. Gress.
I'll just clarify. The reason for the odd boundary on the south end is that the area within the townhomes is actually the stormwater detention area for the entire project. including the commercial area, and so that was eligible under the CID and the TIF to be paid for with the TIF revenues.
Okay, makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. So there is a public hearing that's open at this time. If anyone from the public would like to make comment on this particular item, please step forward, state your name and address for the record. See nobody coming forward, so I'll close the public hearing. Do we need a motion for approval of the report?
I would accept the report, sir. A motion for acceptance of the report.
Okay, so I need a motion for that.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Abdelgawad,
I move that we accept the report from staff on the tax increment financing plans and redevelopment projects.
thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. But motion's been made and seconded to approve the tax increment financing plan and development projects report. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3873 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3873 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract proposal with Black & McDonald for the Heritage Hills streetlight installation in the amount of $157,361.03, and authorizing the city manager to approve change orders within established budget constraints.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a staff report?
Thank you, sir. I would ask.
I got it. I got you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Bill 3873 is a part of the 2020 GEO bond projects for lights in the Heritage Hills area. Two things to note of this. This will provide 12 lights as a part of this particular project, primarily on Heritage and Franklin Street. But we do want to note that we still do need, this will accomplish a little more than half of the project, so then we'll still have the northern half where we're still acquiring easements or need to require easements to finalize the remainder of that project. So I did want to make sure, so if you're looking at the map, you probably saw where we have lights and then the proposed lights, and you'll see the northern half is still where we would be completing the remainder of the project in the future. Happy to answer any questions on it.
Thank you. Mr. Holman.
So I have a question about how difficult it is to find locations to put these. One of the challenging things as a member of this governing body is we get people that complain from time to time because they want streetlights, but then when you go to the neighborhood, there are people that say, I don't want a streetlight in front of my house. So I was just curious, this area in particular predated the time before we required that, and therefore it is a darker area of town, and it's certainly, from a public safety standpoint and a transportation standpoint, it's in need of lighting. There's no doubt about that. I'm just curious as to what kind of reception or feedback you ran into when working this project.
Well, and Public Works obviously is the one who got the majority of that feedback, but I know Mr. Fairborn wanted to add a little answer to that question on this one.
If I can at this point, the area where we have been very successful in the area where you're seeing streetlights tonight. We continue to have one or two challenges, but we are making progress in that northern area now. Obviously, this entire area encompassing the whole is easily one of the worst areas in town, kind of led to the whole GEO bond issue in and of itself. But we do feel like we're making significant progress to where you're going to be hearing the second half of this come before you very shortly.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent. Anyone else have any questions for staff? If not, I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Abdelgawad.
I move that we approve Bill 3873, award of contract for Heritage Hills streetlight installation.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3873. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. That concludes our new business. We'll now move on to public comments. If anyone from the public would like to address the council, I really don't see anyone moving forward, or in the public sector here, so we'll just move on to mayor-council communication, and I'll start with Ms. Forster tonight. We'll start with you tonight, ma'am.
I have no comments. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Burke.
Just wanted to give my thanks to the Public Works and all the people that are pitching in from the other departments driving. That's number one. We can't do anything if we can't get out of our homes. So thank you.
Mr. Holman?
Simple kudos to staff, and in order to keep this as slick as Andy Reid's mustache, I yield the rest of my time, sir.
Mr. Barber?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to make comments about Public Works, and, just like a road playoff game, that game plan just doesn't happen. I can remember when we had work sessions on events like we've just had, and it was a whole lot, we had the air conditioner on, we had, a lot warmer than it was, so I know staff does a lot to plan for these, and then getting all the departments involved as well. These things don't just happen. It took a lot of planning, and kudos for them to do that. And I don't understand any of this, but Ms. Harmer, you're tweeting and you're retweeting and all that. Congratulations on that, I guess. Thank you.
Ms. Abdelgawad?
Thank you, sir. I'll kind of follow along with the message here. Thanks to Public Works and everyone who's joining in for clearing the snow for our winter weather. I actually heard from a new neighbor to the area who called me the first day of all the big snow and said, "Oh my gosh, Raymore's streets are amazing." She drives downtown for work, and so I got to share with her how we have heated streets here in Raymore, and that's a pretty common thing that people, don't realize. So, funny joke. They aren't really heated. It takes a lot of work.
I know, right?
Just wanted to share that, and if you'll pass that along to Public Works. And then also, just a quick thanks to city staff and the mayor for your trip to Jefferson City and your future trips to Jefferson City. Just wanting to share, I do hear appreciation from the community, and I appreciate the work you're doing fighting this landfill. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ingert?
Thanks, sir. I'll go along with my other colleagues on the Public Works. In Morningview, where I live, it's a little different in that we pay a company to come in and shovel driveways and sidewalks. And the first compliment I got was from that company on the good job that the city did this time coming in and plow. His worst nightmare is to come out and plow the driveways and plow the sidewalk, and to be there before the city gets there, because then he has to come back and fix the big pile of snow at the end of the driveway. And but anyway, he was very complimentary. I too got a phone call from one of our constituents, and he was complaining about the ice buildup around his mail. He could get to the mail, but the mail truck couldn't get to the mailbox to deliver everything, and he wanted to know if Public Works would be able to help with the situation. So a phone call was made to Public Works. They came out and put some sand down, and it wasn't 30 minutes later he was calling me, said, "They're out here fixing everything already." So again, my hat's off to the folks and all the hard work they put together at Public Works.
So Tom, you're saying the post office's old motto doesn't carry much anymore? Since neither snow nor sleet, never mind. Mr. Baker?
Thank you. I want to echo the sentiments on the Public Works Department. I know the last big snow we got was recorded. We had the highest snow total in the metro, so to push 9 to 10 inches of snow off our many miles of streets is a huge task. I think the city did great, the city Public Works and everybody who helped out with that. I wanted to give a shout out to Raymore's newest restaurant, which opened up last week, Abelardo's. I actually went and visited it this weekend. I know that is a big topic that people want restaurants, so hopefully that one does have some success there. And then to Melissa, congratulations on the social media. That is a huge asset that if social media posts like that get seen and the right person retweets it or shares it, that's just good PR for the city, and just shows that we're very active in what we do here and in the creativeness of that. So excellent job with that.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Townsend?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess we got to get you to tag Taylor Swift in it for her to pick it up, and then we get the coverage we need. Outstanding. Thank you. Yes, sir. I would like to echo the sentiments of all the council members. I've been absent for a few weeks. with the holidays and some personal vacation, and I was actually in some warm tropical weather and sent the mayor and the city manager a couple of cool photos, asking if they can make sure the streets are paved when I get back, because pina coladas were kind of drying up on me. But when I did return, it was as almost kind of old hat. That's what we do. That's what the residents of Raymore do. But I do want to echo, I don't have it in front of me, but I want to call out Mr. Fearborn and his email he sent to a resident with respect to asking why we were still open when most cities were closed on that major event that we had that one particular day. And he artfully responded with, this is a family, and how each member of this staff works to help each other out, and how they pull together when we don't close, but there are essential services that are necessary for this community, whether it be our whether it be our police, our public works, our parks, who are out trying to make sure the streets are paved and there's safe and access around the community, and how for those who are needed to come in, they work together to try to find ways to bring them in or get them home or work from home as necessary. And I believe that was a very touching email, and it really set the tone for who this community and staff is that supports everything we do, and reinforces also, as I saw the conversations on last council session with regards to the purpose and role of the use tax and the need for more staff. I'm sure Mr. Gress, I'm sure Mr. Mustine and Mr. Crass, as well as Mr. Fearborn, can articulate, and Chief Wilson, those who had to put in overtime because we were understaffed. Just as much as overtime kind of helps the wallet, but sometimes that quality of life being home is probably more important if we had the additional staff to support, to do the things that are necessary as we continue to grow our community. So I just wanted to end on that, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, very well said, and I appreciate that. It really takes all the wind out of my sails, so I don't have to say it, because you said it very well. So I also wanted to remind everyone that we have the issue coming up very soon with regard to the use tax that was passed at the last council meeting. There will be a chamber meeting on the topic. It's a special meeting that has been arranged for, if you're a member of the chamber. It is, February the 8th?
8th.
February the 8th at 1 p.m. at Centerview. If you'd like to come and if you're a member of the chamber, because it will be discussed for endorsement purposes at that event. So if you can make it, it'd be awesome to have you there. And that's all I have, but we do need to go to executive session. Is that correct, sir?
We do, sir, for litigation.
I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we move into executive session to discuss litigation matters.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to move into executive session. Could I please have the roll call?
Councilmember Abdel-Gawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Ingert?
Yes.
Councilmember Forster?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
We will move now into executive session. Upon the conclusion of executive session, we'll come back